Take.
Reporters should be able to play the sport that they're reporting on.
100% agree. I think that it's egregious,
yes,
if that's a word, that somebody could report on something that they've never played before.
Never played before.
It's crazy.
And we can maybe dull it down and be like, not necessarily play the sport, but at least a sport. Like sweat a little bit.
So if you've played basketball, you could maybe report on baseball.
Yeah, because you've been in that element. You've been in that locker room. You understand the feeling a little bit. And then you just learn it. But to play no sport at all, but yet have everything to say about it, it's kind of...
Your take.
It's mind-boggling to me. It's an organization that's never earned money. Despite all the supposed huge jumps in crowd size and ticket sales last year, they still lost $40 million. And what I'd call the current top player in the league right now. She's grabbed I don't know how many top player awards, including one last year. A'ja Wilson keeps avoiding being the league's public face and actively pushes away potential viewers who try to watch games.
And what I would say is the best, as of right this second, the best player in the league. All right. She's won, I don't know how many MVPs, won one last year. A'ja Wilson continues to not only not try to be the face of the league, but to actively push people away that are trying to watch it. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, and I said this yesterday when I saw this, I tend to believe athletes make the worst sports commentators, all right? And in the case of the WNBA, it's really true. Why? They can't put their own ego, jealousy, and pettiness aside to be...
Look, I'll be straightforward. As I mentioned yesterday when I noticed this, I generally think sports stars make terrible sports commentators. And for the Women's Pro Basketball League, that's especially true. Why? They can't set aside their own pride, envy, and smallness to be truly fair. Often they don't want to upset people they know or play with. By the way, that just harmed Shedeur Sanders in the NFL selection process, because many teams weren't honest with them because they're buddies with Dion and didn't say, listen, Shedeur isn't a first or second round choice. We've rated him as 4th or 5th round material. So it hurt Dion and Shedeur both.
Truly objective. A lot of times they either don't want to piss off people that they know or that they play with. By the way, that just hurt Shedeur Sanders in the NFL draft because a lot of teams were not honest with them because they're friends with Dion. And they didn't say, look, Shadeur's not a first or second round pick. We've got a 4th or 5th round grade on him. All right. So it hurt Dion and it hurt Shedeur. It's amazing. These players have wanted this league to grow forever and kept saying, why aren't anybody watching? And then when they tune in, they want the new fans to mark off a checklist of things that we're supposed to do.
It's incredible. These players have wanted this league to expand forever and kept asking, why isn't anybody watching? And then when people tune in, they expect new fans to complete some kind of checklist. We're supposed to go back and study 26 years of basketball we didn't care about? No way. Plus, stop trying to dictate what people do with their time and cash. People will choose what they want. If they wanted to watch these games before, they would have.
We're supposed to go back and watch 26 years of basketball we didn't care about? No. Not only that, but quit trying to tell people what to do with their time and their money. People will do what they want to do. If they wanted to watch this game prior, they would have. And let's debunk the other thing. I don't know why these new fans keep talking about this. They don't know ball. I have watched basketball since I was four years old. I'm almost 50.
And let's address another thing. I don't understand why these new fans keep saying this. They don't understand the game. I've watched basketball since I was 4 years old. I'm almost 50. There's something called college basketball and something called the National Basketball Association. So yeah, I do know what basketball is, how it looks, what makes someone good or bad. I don't want to hear that nonsense. I know the difference between almost attacking someone on the court versus being physical like the Hornets and Knicks or Pacers and Knicks back in the 90s. The bad boy Pistons. I saw all that growing up. Charles Barkley, Bill Laimbeer. Don't start with me.
All right, there is a thing called college basketball and a thing called the National Basketball Association. So yeah, I do know what basketball is, what it looks like, what it takes to be good, what it takes to be bad. I don't want to hear any of that crap. I know the difference between damn near assaulting somebody on the court or being physical like the Hornets and the Knicks or the Pacers and the Knicks back in the 90s. The bad boy Pistons. I saw all of that.
The sense of entitlement these players feel is amazing. So Asia Wilson, just one day after talking about race and how she's being held back for being black, goes out there yesterday and declares that you shouldn't discuss sports if you never played sports. So let me understand this correctly. Asia Wilson, you just saw a movie, but you shouldn't talk about it because you're not a director or actor. You shouldn't go to a restaurant and comment on the food because you're not a chef. So be quiet. That applies to everything in life. And that's absurd. It's foolish.
Coming up, Charles Barkley, Bill Laimbeer. I don't want to hear it. It's amazing to me the entitlement that these players feel like they have. So Asia Wilson, just one day removed from right before the season again, talking about race and how she's being held down for being black. She goes out there yesterday and proclaims that you shouldn't talk about sports if you didn't play sports. So let me get this correct, right? Asia Wilson, you just went and watched a movie.
Again, many athletes can't see beyond their own pride to discuss sports properly. Plus, some of the greatest players ever were awful sports commentators. No disrespect, I love Jerry Rice, Emmitt Smith, Joe Montana. I'm a 49ers supporter. That's two of my guys. They were terrible at discussing sports. Isn't it strange that two of the biggest names in football history don't discuss sports because they're not good at it?
But you ought not talk about it because you ain't a director. You're not an actor, actress. You shouldn't go to a restaurant and talk about the food there because you're not a chef. So shut the bleep up. That applies to everything in life. And that's ridiculous. It's stupid. Again, a lot of athletes can't see past their own egos to talk about sports in a good way. Not only that, but some of the most legendary players of all time.
Reporters should be able to play the sport they're reporting on. 100% agree. I think it's outrageous that somebody could report on something they've never played before. It's crazy. And maybe we can tone it down to not necessarily play that exact sport, but at least some sport, sweat a little. So if you've played basketball, maybe you could report on baseball because you've been in that environment. You've been in that locker room. You understand the feeling somewhat, and then you learn the rest. But to play no sport at all, yet have everything to say about it, this is wild. It really is. It's fake. It's ridiculous.
We're terrible at being sports commentators. No offense, I love Jerry Rice, Emmitt Smith, Joe Montana. I'm a Niners fan. That's two of my guys. They were terrible at talking sports. Don't you think it's a little odd that two of the biggest names in the history of football don't talk sports? Because they're not good at it.
I said this yesterday. That's hilarious. So basically no sports coverage? This goes back to the same thing I always hear. I don't want to hear stuff from unnamed sources. Then you don't want sports news. Then you don't want to know anything about sports. You couldn't talk at the barber shop. Nothing. Because you wouldn't hear anything. There wouldn't be any sports shows. There'd be the sporting event. That's it. And that would be terrible for everyone. Because everyone enjoys talking about sports around the water cooler. This league is trying to earn money for the first time ever. And their players, it's unbelievable. I said the day before yesterday, you know the reason why her sponsorships and all that haven't exploded, it's not about race. It's because she is incredibly unlikable. Similar to being a politician, you better be likable somehow or you won't succeed. She's incredibly unlikable. I mean, they are literally trying to drive fans away. It's unbelievable. It's unlike anything I have ever witnessed in my entire life. I don't get it. I don't know what this league does. Andy who shared this, Andy Forrell. Go Andy Forrell. Follow him. I just want good commentary. I don't care about anyone's background. I don't give a damn. I do not care. And don't give me this nonsense about we don't understand the game when we've been watching. Some of us have been watching basketball for 40 years. In my case, even longer than that. It's insane to me. These players don't own basketball. Basketball existed before they existed. She should check her privilege. She's getting destroyed. I mean, honestly, Asia Wilson is so unlikable. She wants the privilege of never being criticized. That's it. So with this logic, she shouldn't be allowed to criticize music, movies, food at a restaurant, art, wine, beer, or anything else she herself hasn't created, right? That's exactly what she's saying. It's the dumbest stuff known to mankind. And even worse, you go on with somebody obviously hosting some podcast or whatever they're doing, and you make sure you put yourself in an environment that is completely safe, meaning the podcaster doesn't turn and look at you and say, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard." Asia, you want your league to grow, but you don't want people to be able to talk about it and analyze it and provide commentary. And this is my issue too. The Women's Pro Basketball League literally wants censorship. These players want censorship. You're not allowed to talk about Asia Wilson. You're not allowed to talk about Angel Reese and their fans. Oh, that's hate speech. It's commentary. Get over it. Every sport has it about every player. Get over it. And yeah, don't talk about their personal lives. Bill Belichick is getting criticized over his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson. So shut up there too. We're in a time when that kind of stuff is news. Unfortunately, if you're going to put yourself out there and do stupid things on a personal level, and you're this so-called sports celebrity, you're going to get called out. This league better get used to that and embrace it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So today we're going to be reacting to a video, or to an article here by Kevin Pelton from ESPN. Thankfully, I would hope that Kevin Pelton's not going to be just, like, with ESPN, you never know. Like, if you get, like, an Alexa Philippou, like, article, it's probably going to be fine. Some people's fine, and sometimes it's AI. Like the Sanaya Rivers is a great offensive player but a bad defender article. However, let's take a read right here. This is what will Clark Reese Jackson...
First up, more firepower for Clark. After winning Rookie of the Year, making All WNBA First Team, and getting the Fever to the playoffs for the first time since 2016, Indiana became a hot free agent destination. They added Dana Bonner and Natasha Howard, which is huge. The article says Clark is now the MVP favorite ahead of three-time winner Asia Wilson and last year's runner-up Nafisa Collier. If Clark wins MVP, she'd supposedly be the least experienced winner since Candace Parker's rookie season. Hold up though, I'm not letting them erase Lauren Jackson here. She joined the WNBA at 19 and won MVP in 2003 at just 22 years old. Pretty sure she was actually younger than Parker was. Jackson even played in the last Olympics for Australia. So while least experienced might technically be accurate, let's not forget Lauren.
Jackson and more due for WNBA Encore. So obviously we know about their rookie season. So more weapons for Clark. In the wake of Clark being named Rookie of the Year, earning all WNBA First Team honors, and leading the Fever to the playoffs for the first time since 2016, her team became a favored destination in free agency, which is very true. Obviously getting Dewana Bonner and Natasha Howard. With these additions, Clark enters the season as the favorite for MVP, ahead of three-time MVP Asia Wilson, MVP runner-up Fee. If Clark would win MVP, she'd be a least experienced winner since Candace Parker in her rookie season.
The piece mentions Wilson and Brianna Stewart have combined for 5 of the last 7 MVPs, but neither won until their third year. Sylvia Fowles got her only MVP at 31, and Della Dawn won before Wilson's 2020 victory but couldn't play in the bubble. Honestly, I see Wilson and Collier as more likely MVP winners than Clark. Asia would need to average 30 points or get the Aces a top 2 seed to win another one. With Indiana adding scoring threats in Bonner and Howard, they're starting 5 plus 6th woman Sophie Cunningham all averaged double figures previously. That means fewer shots to go around. Projections suggest player usage rates might drop about 3% from expectations, though that won't necessarily be distributed equally. The Fever will probably reduce Clark's workload after she ranked 2nd in total minutes as a rookie.
You see, I'm not going that far. Like I say, I'm just saying, I am not allowing Lauren Jackson erasure. I am not allowing the WNBA media to erase Lauren Jackson. I'm not allowing Lauren Jackson erasure here. She came over to WNBA when she was 19, and she won a WNBA MVP in 2003.
The upside, better efficiency for Clark. She shot 39% on catch-and-shoot threes versus just 32% on pull-ups last season. Interestingly, she attempted more than twice as many pull-up threes as catch-and-shoot ones. Evening out that ratio could boost an already strong part of her game. My guess, Clark's stats will actually decrease next year. I'm thinking around 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 7.5 assists per game. I don't think she'll lead the league in assists either. Strangely, I have a feeling Alyssa Thomas might. The Mercury will run everything through Thomas, while Indiana might rely less on Clark than they did last season. The article suggests Clark's biggest improvement could come in the playoffs. Indiana got swept by Connecticut last year as a 6th seed without even getting a home game. With the new additions, ESPN claims the Fever are now favored for home court advantage.
She was younger than Candace Parker. She had just turned 22 years old. She was, in fact, younger than Candace Parker. She's the youngest MVP ever, as far as I'm aware. But we're not having... Lauren Jackson played in the last Olympics. She literally played in the Olympics for Australia. When was Lauren Jackson? Ooh, maybe. Sorry, it's very close. A little bit younger. I think a little bit younger Lauren Jackson was for winning MVP. A tiny bit younger. By a couple of weeks. But we're not having...
Wait, that's not right. Didn't ESPN themselves rank the Fever 5th? That's not favored for home court. They're better than last year, but still not top 4. About Clark winning MVP, it wouldn't shock me, but she wouldn't be my prediction simply because of expected usage rate changes. Moving on to Angel Reese. She's thrived with low expectations both individually and team-wise. Dropping to 7th in the draft, she joined a Chicago team expected to be among the worst after trading Kalia Copper, yet the Sky stayed in playoff contention until the final week. The article compares this to Reese's surprise NCAA tournament run at LSU, though it notes she didn't really play defense in the Ian Rival documentary. Fair enough, I actually think the Sky will be pretty good. My wild prediction is they'll be the 6th seed. What's annoying is how well Chicago matches up against Indiana. I'm predicting a 3-2 season series for the Fever against the Sky, though I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago takes it 4-1, or if Indiana wins 4-1. I have a strange feeling the Sky might win their first matchup of the season.
We're not... You know what? Least experience since Candace Parker? Yeah, it is. It is. That's a very true statement, but it took Wilson and Brianna Stewart have combined to win 5 at the past 7 MVPs until year 3 in the league to reach that level, and the year had to take down a winner in their prime as established as Wilson. The year before, Stewie won in 20.
The article mentions Reese hopes to get Chicago back to the playoffs after a 2-year absence. With Vandersloot's playmaking, Reese should get more easy baskets. She made 44% of her shots on potential assist opportunities last year, according to tracking data, but only 35% on self-created shots, the lowest effective field goal percentage of any player with at least 100 attempts. She still struggles finishing layups, by the way, but I have a feeling Angel won't be playing point forward exactly, though her stats might disappoint fans this year. That's my prediction. Her actual impact might be great, while her box score looks underwhelming. I've always noticed with Angel that she can either be a statless all-star, great impact without huge numbers, or a stat-padding loser, big numbers, little winning impact. In the WNBA last year, she started as the former before becoming more of the latter. I don't see much middle ground.
In 2018, Sylvia Fowles won her only MVP at 31. Della Dom was the MVP before Wilson won it in 2020, was unable to participate in the Wubble last season. Realistically, I consider both Wilson and Collier more likely to win MVP. I think Collier, yes. Wilson, no. Aja needs to average 30, or the Aces need to be a top 2 seed. Otherwise, she's not going to win an MVP. But, yeah, like, because the Fever added 2 scoring threats in Bonner and Howard. They're starting 5+6 with Sophie Cunningham.
Angel is actually a good passing forward, handles well, and defends elite forwards like Stewart and Wilson effectively. She attacks the basket and draws fouls. I've always said if she's your first option, your team will struggle. If she's your 4th option, your team will be incredible. Looking at Chicago's offense, their first option will be the pick and roll. Ariel Atkins on the wing is probably 2nd option. Kick out threes might be 3rd, with Angel as the 4th option. I think she'll have a great basketball season, but box score watchers, which is most fans who just want double-doubles, might say she's struggling. Often the worse Angel's stats are, the better she's actually playing. The article mentions improved spacing could help Camila Cardoso, who might be most improved player, but notes a downside for Reese is that a better Sky offense means fewer rebound opportunities after she was the second player ever to average 5 offensive rebounds per game. Wait, how is your team scoring more a downside for a player in a team sport? That's only a downside for Reese fans who think offensive rebounding is the most valuable skill in basketball. I'm not saying it's meaningless, but you'd obviously rather have your team make shots than grab offensive boards. For Rikia Jackson, I have a feeling she could win most improved. The article says she's the preseason favorite, which makes sense. I saw somewhere that Clark was favored for most improved, which is ridiculous. She can't win Roy and MIP back-to-back. Looking at the odds, they have Rikia, then Niara Sabally. Why is Malonga second for Rookie of the Year? Apparently Maureen Johannes was plus 5,000 for 6th player, and I know someone who bet decent money on her. My prediction would be Rikia for MIP, though Leonie Fibic could contend, but she'll miss time for Eurobasket, hurting her award chances. It's crazy how many top players are going to Eurobasket this year. The article notes a change from previous years. Jonquel Jones in 2017 was the last second-year player to win MIP, though she was the third sophomore winner in 4 years back then.